Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk More on Monday. We are starting a very exciting new series today that is all about issue 11 Women Who. So, if you have been following more for a while, you know that we do biannual issues, and in the spring and fall, we publish magazines full of wonderful articles written by our contributors, and those contributors come from a variety of different backgrounds and relationships to More itself. And we sit down with our contributors and interview them to talk about how their articles came to be and what they mean to them. And it is our most highly requested content and really the reason that our podcast has taken shape. So I'm very excited to be able to start issue 11 Women Who with a former More intern. Welcome back, Sui. I'm very happy to have you back on the podcast as well because you were part of our summer intern chat.
It's great to see you too, Chloe.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming back and for contributing a really, truly beautiful article to issue 11. This one, um, I've reviewed all of them just as part of background magic of making the magazine happen, and this one really stood out to me as not only just being really thoughtfully written and composed, but it's just a very artful piece. Like, you can tell there's a lot of heart in it because it's about your family, but it's just very well constructed, and I think it'll make our audience really feel this story that you're telling and connect with you on a personal level, because even if we don't have similar family backgrounds, everyone can relate to this idea of overcoming societal expectations. And I think that at the heart of what you're talking about is what you tried to touch on. So I'm really excited to get into this and talk about your piece. But first, I would love for you to just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do, what you're studying, your experience with More, all that good stuff. So I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Chloe. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. Hi, everyone. I'm Sui. I'm currently a second-year marketing student at Kelly, Indianapolis. I previously interned at More over the summer, and it was an amazing experience. I wish I could relive it again because I love the team and I love working with Ariana and Chloe throughout all of it. Throughout this summer, I also finished as a second runner-up for Miss Myanmar USA, which is a pageant that I've loved and adored for all my love, all my life. So I was grateful to be a part of it. And throughout my pageantry journey, I centered myself around Burmese advocacy, wanting to uplift and advocate for the loved ones back at home. And now I'm continuing that journey with More Magazine as I write my article with them, centered around uplifting the woman back at my home village, Lampe, the woman who uplift and support through it all.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And just an interesting little fun fact, More is based in Indianapolis, since that's where our founder lives. And obviously, we have a great relationship with a lot of businesses in Indianapolis and the IU Kelly School of Business based in Indianapolis. But I am based in the Fort Wayne area. And I wish I could tell you why, but there is a significant Burmese population in Fort Wayne as well. Um, they've just kind of formed, a community here. And I don't know if it's because Fort Wayne is the second largest city in Indiana. I don't really know like what the draw is to Indiana itself, since it's primarily like farming and transportation, but that's just how the cookie crumbled in this case. So it's interesting, how these things work out. But um, yeah, like I said, your piece is really beautiful, and I love that you shared such an intimate part of your life. So I'm curious how it came to be. Can you tell us kind of the conception of your article? What made you decide to write about your family history? Did Ariana approach you to write this piece and give you a framework, or was it something that you already had in mind?
Mhm. Thank you so much for the question. It's honestly truly so thoughtful. So there's many steps that go into this. One, honestly, it'll have to start off with my love for Burmese people. My dad has deeply instilled this into me, wanting to always be someone who stands up for the Burmese, because I understand that we are a minority and we are truly underrepresented in media in all walks of life. So being able to be that person who will go up front and truly say something or speak out for them has always mattered to me, I guess, or has always been a part of my mission. And then I got to do more, and it was a great experience where I got to not just shine a light on Burmese, but I also got to shine a light on different communities, businesses in the Midwest and Indianapolis. So that was a great experience as well. So then when Ariana approached me and asked me, hey, would you like to be a part of our next issue? It's about women who. And honestly, it was so intriguing to me. I thought, okay, what is this about? When she asked me to write about uplifting the woman who truly cultivated and made me the person I am today, I honestly did not have any second doubts about wanting to write about my aunts and my mom and everybody honestly back at home, truly
Yeah,
who are the women that served and truly the woman who uplifted all of us to come to America, to Indianapolis.
right. Yeah, incredible journey. So you would be second generation because your father came here from the village in Myanmar. Is that correct?
Hmm.
Okay, that's so amazing. And is your aunt still with us?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how old she would be now?
I believe she is just about a couple years older than my mom, so she would be in her 60s, early 60s, probably. Yeah, early 60s, I would say.
That's awesome. I wonder, if she will be able to read this and what kind of, impact it will have on the way that she perceives, the sacrifice that she made by allowing you guys to come and be in America. That's so awesome. And she really is a woman who made it happen for your family.
Mm-hmm. 100%. When the article gets released out, my mom and I will also be working to translate the article piece so she's able to read it as well.
That's amazing. I love that. And you also mentioned some of your pageantry work. I mean, I know that you talked about this a little bit in the summer intern chat, but there's a level of advocacy and education that goes into that as well, since you're representing Burmese people by being part of those pageants, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So tell me,
They,
I'm so
yeah.
curious what that's like. Can you tell me a little bit more about what it's like to be part of that pageant circuit?
Yeah, of course. So being a part of Burmese pageantry or Burmese advocacy is honestly just about showing up when maybe other people won't.
Mm.
So first, there's the closed interview process where they kind of ask you a bit more personal, intimate questions, get to know you and your character a bit more. I 100% spoke a lot about my family, about how their experiences kind of molded the person I am today, and
Mhm.
about how I try to carry their mission and carry their moralities into my life as well. Um, and then after that, it comes to if you pass the closed door interview, you get to go into the rehearsals and walking practices, which is honestly a lot. Learning how to walk and learning how to truly be confident on stage honestly was a bit intimidating for me at first. And then after you walk, there's going to be the questions that you're asked on stage. So there's 2 rounds of those. I thankfully went past both rounds, and then I finished second runner up for Miss Myanmar USA.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Um, did you interview anyone for this piece? Did you talk to your parents or any other relatives to kind of put this whole story together?
Yeah, of course. So my dad honestly talks a lot about his past back in the villages, what that was like, because he didn't want my siblings to ever lose touch of what our home is.
Yeah.
So he wanted us to deeply understand what life was back at home, what he experienced, what he went through. But there was obviously a lot of more, I guess you could say, like intimate details. For example, like what happened in the home that he didn't truly want to get into. But for this piece, I did have to approach him and be like, hey, I truly do want to learn so much about what happened to you back in the villages. What was life for you? What was life like for my aunt? And how did you guys grow from that as well?
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I truly did have to sit down with him and ask him about. And then I also got to go on multiple calls with my aunt as well. It's truly difficult now because of the civil war happening in our country, but we had a bunch of calls scheduled, even though they were staticky and maybe the line disconnected a couple of times. We tried our best to get as much information through possible to get this piece together.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I do think, it's good not only that you got this story from your dad because it's valuable information for your family and for your background, and obviously it made such a gorgeous article that people can relate to, but we've talked before on the show about generational healing, and if you don't know like some of the struggles that he went through, it's possible that those things could continue, whereas if you're aware of it and you can educate yourself and you guys can have honest discussions, like those patterns can break, and you can decide like we're gonna be better and do better because we have the opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Generational healing is something that my dad had to take a step back and reflect on the things. There was obviously a lot of great heartwarming parts about his childhood, but then there was obviously the more explicit ones, the ones that he didn't want to carry on to his children. And that's one thing that we did have a really deep, meaningful talk about, was about how he learned from his parents what he didn't want to carry on and what he wanted to do better on. And
Yeah.
that's deeply reflected onto me and my siblings as well,
Yeah.
thankfully.
Right. I mean, that's amazing. And, good for him for being willing to open up and share some of those harder moments, because that's not easy to share those parts of yourself, but it's definitely important too. And what a special moment for you guys to get to talk about this, and, that you have shared this with him. Those are things that you have to do while you have the chance.
Yeah, 100%. It brought my dad much more closer than I would have ever expected it. It was a really great moment for the both of us.
Yeah, that's amazing. Um, so you touched pretty early on in the episode, you talked about representation. And obviously, we talked about the pageant circuit and how you're representing the Burmese population by doing that. But I'm curious, in terms of like popular media, if there have been any celebrities or singers that you have looked up to that are Burmese, or movies that have touched on the culture, like anything that you've been able to connect with that's been meaningful.
Um, so a lot of the Burmese movies and media are all in the standard Burmese language. So there's a reason why I haven't truly been able to listen to, I guess, general Burmese media, because I don't
Right.
speak their language. Myanmar has so many different dialects and languages all in one country. So because of there's a bit of a division within the country as well. In terms of singers, there's one called Tong Sui that I really love, but he's more of like a Christian singer. And then, but I guess in terms of like figureheads or women who I lead up to, Burmese women I look up to would honestly be our NUD leader, which is Aung San Suu Kyi. My mom absolutely adores her, always posts her on her Facebook. She's 100% someone that we look up to, definitely as a leader for democracy in our country as well.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that there's, role models out there that you can point to and that, be proud of, and especially in government, because it's already such a white men's club that the more we can get away from that, 100% the better. It's so important to have perspectives and different cultural backgrounds, because America's a melting pot. And if we don't have that represented in our government, our people aren't truly represented.
Mhm. I do want to clarify though, Aung San Suu Kyi is a leader for the Burmese government.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That's too bad. Yeah, you said R, and I was like, oh, good. That's okay. Well, she's doing important work for,
100%.
yeah. Thank you for the clarification, though.
Yeah, good.
So, to wrap up this episode of Let's Talk More on Monday, and make sure if you're listening to this to join us over on our Patreon, where we will dig deeper with Bonsui about some of the details of the article and some of the things that you should look out for. Before we wrap it up, is there anything that you want to share with our listeners, like a key takeaway from your article.
Honestly, I think the only key takeaway that I truly did have from this was that having those moments where I kind of sat down with my aunt and my dad and got to talk to them about their upbringing, what life was like back for them, truly brought us so much more closer than I would have ever imagined. Having that talk with your parents, having that talk with the loved ones in your life is so crucial because it not only brings you guys together, but it also helps you understand each other so much more than you would have ever had before. And I think that understanding and loving one another is so important, especially as we go throughout life. So that is one thing I'm so grateful for this more article is that because of this article, I was able to initiate that conversation and have it. So now, honestly, it was for the better.
That's so wonderful. I'm so glad. Well, thank you for sitting down with us and talking about your article. If people want to find you outside of this space on the internet, how can they find you?
Please follow my LinkedIn. I will just say that.
Excellent. All right. Well, look her up on LinkedIn. We'll probably have the link in the show notes just so people can easily find it. We'll put it in your bio. But thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to listen to our Dig Deeper over on Patreon, support us there, and find out how you can make opportunities reachable for everyone by visiting moremagazine.org. And you can also pick up your issue 11, Women Who, on our website. Um, and hope we either can or did see you at the pre-launch happy hour. Obviously we record these a little in advance, but if we do get to see you at the pre-launch happy hour, make sure to stop and say hi. We love meeting new people. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye guys.